Good, happy Friday, everybody, friends and PSWs across Ontario. Welcome to PSW Podcast, where we go live every single Friday at 11 a.m. to talk about the true issues, good things, bad things, all in between of the PSW world here in Ontario. My name is Miranda Delmanovich. I'm the CEO of the Ontario PSW Association and Canadian Support Workers Association and host of PSW Podcast. And I'm joined again by my co-host and Chief Operating Officer of both associations, Ian De Silva. And today we are here to talk about the ongoing talk of ratios.
Yes, we are. The ratios subject is not going away. We got a lot of comments about it, but I think we want to look a little bit at like we all want ratios. We have an idea of what a good ratio is, but what are the current issues? For example, where are we missing the conversation of ratios?
I
And
think we're
especially from
missing it from,
the
yeah,
residents' point of
the
view.
residents. We're missing it from the residents' point of view.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you to the residents who have pointed that out on a
Exactly.
lot of our videos and bringing that forward. And that's, looking and taking this lens of, really looking at ratios in every single sector PSWs work in, focusing for a second on long-term care, because these individuals are in long-term care who commented on our post.
Yeah.
Looking at from their perspective makes ratios even more heartbreaking.
Mhm.
I mean, I can only imagine being a resident in a long-term care facility, where you are super dependent on your PSWs. And, there's days, many, many days that not all of your care gets completed or gets completed all the way because there's not enough personal support workers on the floor in order to do the job. Where a PSW should be able to sit with a resident, talk to a resident for a little while, all that sort of good stuff. They don't have that time. They barely have time to do the care that they're giving to these residents. So imagine it from the resident's perspective and the family's perspective.
One gets the impression of a factory line when
Yeah.
you're doing with long-term care, and that's purely impression. And I'm going to step aside because we visited a few homes recently, long-term care facilities, where what we're saying does not apply. So just an FYI, just some of the people we visited this week, there's some great homes, but those homes where you really have that down to this mechanical operation, I think we've lost the humanity a little bit in the delivery of care in that regard, and that's what we're seeing from our members, but especially from residents. It's
Yeah, I mean, we hear it from families as well. And one thing too is I will beseech the family to still have patience with the PSWs. They're doing their absolute best in an impossible situation. And I understand the frustration. I understand the anger. I understand being exasperated by, mom not being able to be toileted immediately when she needs to go because the PSW is in another resident's room dealing with that resident who happens to be combative, or you know what I mean, or is in the bathroom and the PSW can't leave the individual. Families, please just be understanding to the fact that the PSWs are doing their best, but it's an impossible situation. Yeah.
It is, and I think it's something one of those things that if you're a family in that situation, and if you're actually finding that where your loved one is never getting care, or you're a loved one, or you're someone in a facility never getting care, you need to contact your member of provincial parliament and make them aware of that. The sufficient resources have been delivered to these facilities to hire the right amount of staff. The question is why are they not hiring? Now, when the association was approached back when we did the 4 hours of care, we were supportive of it, under the belief at least it was a step in the right direction. But what we're hearing from our community right now is there are improvements. So I don't want to just be negative all the time. There are homes that are hitting it. They are doing that work. The residents are engaged. It's wonderful. But there's also a lot of residents in Ontario that are not engaged with their residents. And having myself spend time in a hospital, you realize you're alone in there. And if no one comes to visit you, um, it can be really, well,
Pressing.
depressing. Yeah. And it's boring. When I was in hospital, I knew I was getting out. It was just boring and lonely, but I
Yeah.
could get over it. But now, if you're there permanently and you're lonely, what is your quality of life like? I mean, and then you don't have anyone coming to visit you, and anytime you ask for something, it's going to be interpreted. You're going to be made to feel like you've burdened them. At least that's how I would be feeling. Like I've burdened my PSWs if I ask them to do something for me because they're so busy, or the nurses. So There's a lot of
They're hard.
intersecting issues. Sorry, I just went off there, but there is. It's just
No,
you
it
feel
is.
lonely.
It's totally true. They are lonely, and that's what used to break my heart. Is when I worked in long-term care, and I did for close to a decade. That I never felt like I could do enough for them, because I never felt like I had the time to
Yeah.
do what I needed to do for them. These are human beings. They might be older. They might have mental health issues. They might be disabled. It does not matter. These are human beings, and they deserve to have some form of company. Even I would try to strike up conversations when I was, quickly doing pericare, or you know what I mean, like getting them dressed or putting them into bed. I would try to get some sort of, conversation in that 5 minutes that I had time to do it. And so it's heartbreaking, and you see that. Like, we went to this fantastic long-term care home this week, and I'm going to shout them out. This is the Arthur Long-Term Care Facility in Arthur, Ontario, Crescent Care. The PSWs in this home were phenomenal. 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 You could see it. There was great synergy between everybody. The residents were adorable. Adorable. I absolutely just thrived being in there. However, I mean, I did turn to them at one point and I said, you know, but I can see that you're tired.
You can
Like,
see it. They're retired.
you
Yes.
can, like, they're absolutely exhausted. So, as the association now, what's going through my head, Ian, is I know what's going through yours, is how do we combat this? How do we change this never ending cycle of not enough staff? PSWs are burnt out. PSWs are leaving because they're burnt out. Like, and residents are not getting the care that they rightfully deserve. How do we stop this?
The
I don't know
see,
the answer. I don't know the answer.
the first answer obviously is ratios.
Well, ratios,
Yeah, I mean
obviously.
that's obviously the first answer. But how do you stop it? How do you encourage the government to switch to a ratio model when the existing model for far as the care is already costing, and they're already talking about they need to cut back stuff?
See, and then this is
This
the crazy
is
part to me, is they announced that years ago, and yeah, we supported it because we thought it was a step in the right direction, and at that time it was. I still don't understand it. Like, to this very day, I've never gotten a straight answer.
well because they can't because it's measuring 4 hours of care and it's a provincial aggregate number. So it's measuring 4 hours of care across the whole province combined into one number, and generally they're hitting about 3.5 hours of care for the entire population of Ontario averaged out. So one person can be getting 24 hours of three PSWs, and the person next to them get nothing, but between the two, they've averaged out about, I mentioned, that care. That's how it's done. So it's not really, I mean, any sort of aggregate calculation is going to be done that way. That's how governments do it, but and that's not wrong. It's just how they have to. But what's the point of it then? I mean, that's the idea. I mean, this 4 hours of care should have been matched to some sort of mechanism to measure it, but it's not, and nor is there any sort of individual. Doesn't seem to be any individual focus on specific homes in relation to that. It's again a system issue. So why not just the
Again, it's the siloing in this province that this government and the government before it is really good at doing.
Oh no, this is an organic thing. We can't blame one government. This is four governments in a row that have each tried to make this system, and this is what we've ended up with organically, is this system of really kind of confusing things, which is why we can't do ratios, which make no sense because we have enough PSWs to do ratios. Um, even looking at comments that we see to our own groups, there's a lot of confusion. They say that there's a PSW shortage, yet PSW employment is hard to secure. Long-term care says they're hiring, they have job ads, but they're not hiring from those job ads. Or if they are, you're getting a fraction of the hours that were promised, um, for a whole bunch of reasons. So
I think that, the shortage of PSWs, and I'm doing this because it is
yeah, it is
this.
this.
The
It is this.
shortage, there
Yeah.
is no shortage anymore. There was a shortage, there is no shortage anymore. It really, the shortage of PSWs was good for business.
Well, yeah, because you can always get more money from the government to say, I need more money to recruit more PSWs. I need to do training programs. Give me extra money. You hire like a few hundred, maybe 100 PSWs, but you get a huge amount of money to administrate and govern those things. Yeah, it's how they've done it. It's
Well, and this
very-
and this is why they're trying to continue in that same path of saying there's a shortage. I mean,
But yeah,
and
lucrative.
saying as well, like I know the Minister of Long-Term Care is known for this, and it drives me batty, is she always says Ontario is open for business. Our long-term care homes are open for jobs. In what world?
What world? I don't know what the minister is referring to
I don't
because
know who's
it's a
feeding
limited.
her that information.
Well, obviously the industry is. I mean, obviously, because they're saying because the only thing the industry would tell the minister and the only thing she would listen to is we need more money because we don't have enough PSWs. That's all. So that's good enough for the ministry, and so there's obviously a shortage. But when you have PSW unemployment and you have growing unemployment in Canada, an unemployment rate, those models that you had during an economic boom are gone and useless. You can't rely on them anymore. So the fact that they're doubling down on them is embarrassing.
That's
It's
embarrassing.
embarrassing. It really is because you don't want to laugh, but it's like, what's going on? But I mean, I mean, long-term care is its own kerfuffle. And yes, we do need ratios in long-term care. The ratio, we need to improve the resident's experience. So just one thing I want to say, one thing that could help with resident experiences, this is a little off topic. Volunteer. We got a lot of PSWs that want to volunteer. This is an excellent way. If you want to volunteer and help improve a resident experience, maybe look at volunteering if you're a new graduate into long-term care homes to get some residents just because
Get your
people
foot in the door. Gets your
people
foot
are
in the door. You know, it's
learn
not a
about it.
bad
Yeah.
thing. No,
Sorry, I didn't
but
get, but back to
no,
what I want
that's a great idea. What I wanted to switch over to though was home care.
as well.
Uh,
That's what I want to do as
yeah,
well. Perfect.
I
Okay.
want to switch over to home care really quick because this also impacts home care
Yeah.
ratios, but in a different sense.
Uh,
Does impact home care. So one of the biggest issues that we see in home care is there's a lack of continuity of care.
mhm. Oh yes.
Or you
Let's
know what
start
I
it.
hate? I had this whole debate the other day on a TikTok live with a bunch of PSWs because they were talking about how some home care companies make you schedule your own clients,
Okay.
right? Other home care companies schedule them for you.
Okay.
And I don't know what's better.
I don't
I don't
know.
know what's worse. Let me put it that way. I don't know which one's worse because, like, I have a girlfriend who works for a home care company. We graduated together from Mohawk back in the midst of time, and she was telling me like she has to call these her clients on her off time. By the way, doesn't get paid to call these clients and book them in, and she has to book them in and she has to figure it out. And if she needs a shift covered, she has to figure that out.
Why doesn't she just work for her?
I'm like, well, then, and yet, what?
Yeah, if you're in that situation, you might just want to break on your own and become your own PSW employer yourself if you're a PSW. Because at that point, you're just doing the job anyway, and yeah, become a private practice PSW and serve the client directly. Sorry,
It's yeah, no, it's ridiculous.
that's
And
ridiculous. Yeah.
you know, but then when they are being scheduled, they're being scheduled 9 to 10, 10 to 11, 11 to 12, 12 to 1.
Oh, great. So you need a transporter or some sort of teleporting device to get from one resident to another.
And then this is what the crazy part is that, you know, and then we get the questions we always do from families saying, well, if a PSW is scheduled for an hour, how long are they supposed to stay? Well, they're supposed to stay an hour. However,
They
if they
can't.
have to make it to the next client by 11 o'clock,
They can't.
they can't. They have to leave to get make it to the next client. So that PSW is run off their feet the entire day,
Yeah.
just trying to get, you know, and what I hate for them too are the split shifts. So they'll do a whole bunch in the morning, clients, they'll have the whole afternoon off, and then they go back in the evening.
That's awful.
I'm like,
That would be tough.
home care is
Home
a
care is
whole
tough.
other monster. Like
It
it's
is, but we need to figure it out though. There has to be a plan for it because I mean, looking at long-term care is for high acuity individuals. Home care is for people that don't necessarily want to remain in aging in place, which is something we as an association advocate for strongly. But what's the solution? I mean, you need the PSWs to be able to transport. We need some sort of standards in how we do home care delivery in Ontario. And I know this work is being done, but I mean through home care, Ontario home care and stuff. But we need standards, and it just throwing money at the problem, going to the government saying we need $1 billion to solve home care. What are you doing with that? Like,
didn't they get something an outrageous amount of money a few
I
years
don't recall.
ago?
I don't know the details about it,
Yeah.
but I do know that we're not seeing, at least since that was announced. I personally and professionally am not seeing any sort of positive impact in home care. Um, where the issues that I was getting prior to COVID, which were absence of continuity, have not changed. Um, their ability, I don't. I don't know.
It's
Can't answer that.
interesting
Sorry.
because over the years, obviously, we've had many conversations with the Ministry of Health about home care. They've asked our advice on different things. We had to write a policy through COVID on PPE and PSWs and home care, all sorts of different stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm still very much stuck on my idea that I had, back in the midst of time when they'd asked me about scheduling a personal support worker, and I said to them, "What you need to do is stop scheduling PSWs from the address of the client." You have to schedule, you have to have the address of the PSW where they reside
Yeah.
and do like a 50-kilometer radius outside of that, right? And they only take the clients in that radius. I'm
I
guaranteed there's going to be another PSW, Ian, that lives close enough to this other PSW, and their radiuses are going to overlap, which means the
yes.
continuity of care
Correct me
would
if
be
I'm wrong,
there.
but Ontario Health at Home does have that kind of model in face. These Ontario local health teams, they do source PSWs from those areas. So there is some positivity happening there. That is excellent that that's happening. We've gotten a lot more information regarding Ontario Health teams, people reaching out how to access it. So I know people have been complaining a lot about Ontario Health teams, but they are providing care. And everyone I've spoken with of late in the last year, just in my own contacts and things, they're not complaining about accessing PSWs from Ontario Health at Home because they're getting them. So there is some improvement, but it's still the beginning of this. And we have a lot of work to be done because we have a lot of people in rural areas that just can't get it. I mean, if you're in the GTA and you need home care, you can probably get it through Ontario Health at Home fairly straightforward
That day, like that day.
within
But
within 12 hours. If
yeah,
you're in another part of Ontario, like Collingwood or somewhere even further north. Well, Collingwood's not north, but you know what I mean, like Timmins or someplace really remote with a much more rural population. It's a struggle. So again,
because
that's where
it
you need those
because
models.
you
So
have
let's
all
hope they
these
work.
towns. Yeah, well, I really hope it works. And in Ontario Health at Home, we work with a lot of the different teams, Ontario Health at Home teams,
Yeah, I've
and some of them, like not all of them, we work with some of them, and they really do have the best interest of everybody at heart, and they're doing their damnedest to make sure that everyone gets that care.
and
But then, like you were just talking about, like up north, like
up
more
north,
rural
yeah,
areas, like we see this huge demand for PSWs in
yeah,
these rural areas, and the pay is good, the work is there, but there's no damn housing. So
no.
it's like, unless they're willing to pitch a tent,
Uh,
you know what I mean, and go live, like it's
it's depressing.
frustrating. It is frustrating. But
So
one thing I'll say is that PSWs, the need for personal support workers will never go away.
no, and there is a structural capacity gap that we are facing provincially when it comes to our aging population and the shortages that does exist, and it will continue. So yeah, there will be, but the current shortage is right now a shortage of full-time jobs, a shortage of good jobs, a shortage of reliable hours. That's what I'm hearing, and that's what I'm having to agree with. It's a lot of this is smoke and mirrors. We are advertising for roles, but we're not hiring full-time, and I
Yeah.
don't know why. My guess is it has something to do with costs.
I'm saying about the funding. I'm saying they
Well,
want to
I
keep
mean,
the shortage down so that if they still is a shortage, we don't have enough PSWs, then the government's going to continue to fork out all this money to try to bring more PSWs into these long-term care homes, where it's like they're looking down one hallway and there's no PSWs, but I almost feel like the homes have blocked off the other hallway where it's jam-packed full of PSWs waiting to work in that long-term care
yeah,
home.
yeah.
Like that's the way I feel. It's like you
Well, it
said,
is.
smoke and mirrors is
Well,
kind of how I'm kind of getting it.
it's the cost we're paying as a society when it comes to outsourcing care delivery to private companies. There is a savings to the state at the cost generally to the operational care and then the residents' quality of experience. So I'm hoping I'm wrong. I'd like to be proven wrong on this in time. Okay, just for the
Oh,
record, if I'm wrong, love it because I don't want this to be. But
no,
it seems like there's a significant conflict between maintaining a profit margin and providing care. And the profit margin, because you have shareholders, always will trump. Always.
I know.
Because it's what
It's a
drives every
business.
it's a business, and that's what that business is in for. They were hired by the government to build homes, run these facilities. They're honoring their contracts, but they have to do it within a margin. So um, we need to set our expectations when we're doing this in the future. I think is this a model that we want to go forward with, or is this good, bad? We don't know. So
I would love to see as a pilot project done.
well,
I
Ontario,
would like.
great for
I
that.
would love to see. No, we're really good at pilot projects in this province, but I would love to see a pilot project done with a long term care facility who puts in ratios.
There has
Puts in
I've heard of one.
ratios.
Yes, there's got to be one. I know I've heard of
There
one.
isn't. I've never heard of them doing that with
I might be
ratios.
maybe I'm thinking of America. I don't
Might
recall.
be the states,
Maybe the
but
state.
because in the states they actually have a ratio. They have ratios in the states, guys, but we don't have ratios here. I
Well, if
mean,
anyone
figure
know
that out.
if anyone knows of a home in Toronto that's done this pilot project or a facility, let us know because it's interesting. It's good to know because it'd be interesting to see what the impacts on bullying would be because this would be a there should be increased staff.
Bullying, you
What's
know,
the stress? Sorry.
resident care,
Yeah.
resident care, like all that stuff, right? Like
What should be, like, you look at the advantage, like you look at there's a shortage of PSWs you have on the workplace, and it's taken as a single issue. There's a shortage of PSWs, which means there's a surplus of patients, and there's obviously a deficit of nurses because who's supporting them? So this pressure group in the middle is if they don't exist, if they're not properly supported, how are the nurses supposed to do their job? And how are the patients supposed to be expected to have any sort of existence quality? So they play a vital role. And I think you're right. And it would be interesting to see if there would be any.
you know what? I'm going to put it out there. Any long-term care facility or
Yeah.
retirement home want to do a pilot with the association, if you're willing to put up ratios, and we'd love to be able to do that because I mean, if we had a ratio of one PSW to 6 residents to start, I'd be very curious to see the level of care. I think there'd be happier staff.
No, remember, there was a comment on a chat. Someone said they had a 1 to 6 ratio at their facility. I remember someone saying
Some
that.
some well, some homes
Some
they
do. Sometimes
well,
so I'd love
some
to find out.
do. However, it's not mandatory. That's the thing, right? So, and she says, "Well, I have a 1 to 6 ratio." She might right now,
True. Yeah. What's the
but
long term?
tomorrow she might have 1 to 12.
Yeah.
Like, and that was my ratio when I worked in long-term care. My ratio typically was 1 to 12, 1 to 14,
That's a lot.
and I thought that was normal.
Yeah, that's a
I
lot.
started. And I was like, this is a lot of work
Well,
because you
America,
do have varying degrees of issues with different residents,
of
right?
course.
So some residents are like pretty independent. You just have to help toilet or, get them into bed or something like that. But then you got the ones that are like the full Hoyer and you're in their room for like half an hour just to do a full Hoyer lift and everything else like that, right? And good luck trying to find someone else to help you. That's another issue.
Exactly.
But
But
I
then you
mean,
look at
yeah.
yeah. But then you look at how those the absence of ratios impacts the quality of work being done by the PSW stress impact. And looking, we're in summer now. It's hot. I've got a lot of PSWs complaining about AFC, and correctly so. Let's talk about some of the issues here. You worked in long-term care when it was boiling hot years ago. Miranda, talk to me about it because this is something I personally empathize with because I hate being hot. Like I hate it. So the idea of members being out there working in these heated conditions, mm,
It gives third world country what they're working in. I hate to say it. Like
yeah,
it's
what
because we don't.
do you
So
think of?
typically in retirement homes, long-term care facilities, there's air conditioning. Now there's mandated air conditioning
Yep,
in all the residence rooms.
correctly so. Yeah,
But then we have to also, and there is in the hallway. I'm using bunny ears.
yeah. This is not
Okay.
it. This is not a his. This is not okay. Just for the record, this issue is not a anti-government or anything. This is a strange issue when it comes to
This is a
heating.
very
So
strange issue
this is a
because
strange one. Okay,
I can remember my very first job, my very first day on the job in long-term care. I worked in a long-term care facility in Paris, Ontario, and it was a small one. And I came in and I was shadowing a healthcare aide. Her name was Lynn. She was fantastic. She's now passed, but she was an amazing, amazing HCA. And I would say at the nurse's station, she says, "You're with me today." I says, "All right." She goes, "Come on." And she pulled me into the administrator's office. Here's a brand new PSW. I'm freaking. I'm like, what is happening right now? Right? Pulls me in and she goes, "We need fans in the hallways." She's like, "On last shift, one of the girls fainted and they'd passed out from the heat. Because not only did we not have fans in the hallways, we did end up getting them, the big fans. We did end up getting it, but we weren't allowed water on the floor either. So we weren't allowed to carry water bottles. We weren't even allowed to put them on our cart. We weren't even allowed to have them at the nurse's station. So you have no water. You're going into rooms that, I mean, anyone who's watching who's a PSW knows this. We got elderly people on blood thinners. They're cold. It can be 110 outside Fahrenheit, and these people they will not put on their air condition because they are cold and they're wearing a cardigan. So yeah, in essence, in theory, having air condition is fantastic. But in many of these rooms, the majority, it's hot. Like I go see my mom who lives in a retirement home. Her place was hot. Like it's, and you're doing the work in there, and you're not doing little things. Like you are
No.
bending, you are grabbing, you are lifting, you are moving, you are doing all these things. So by the time you leave that room, and keep in mind the door's closed too. So there's no
Yep.
airflow, right? You're dripping. And Danielle, the GM for Open Mind, she was saying earlier that she used to wet, she worked in long-term care for many years, and she used to wet face cloths,
Oh, right.
and
Yes.
she put it under her bra straps, under her scrubs, just to
Just to keep
try
it
to
cool.
stay cool while
Well,
she was working.
people wearing those fans now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. They put fans on. Like it's not a
it's
fun
it's
situation.
not. And I'm trying. Like, what's the solution though? You can't have air conditioning on because the residents will get cold, and they're already compromised. So you can't put the AC on.
Let us have
You know,
damn water
fan.
on the floor.
Water on the floor for PSWs is an absolute. Ice water on the floors.
Ice water, provide it for them.
Why? I mean, every time you go to any place, they have a cooler with ice water. This is not an expensive oversight. This is
I
how
know.
safety. Every place I've ever worked had water. Every bureaucracy I've ever worked in had water.
Not in our long-term care homes. There
Wow.
might
Okay.
be a
So
few, but
I think they need to
yeah.
extend the principle of obviously free water for PSWs, especially in hot conditions.
And
That's a,
maybe they do, and maybe some places do, but
I'm
from
sure they do.
what we're hearing from PSWs, that's not the case. Like it's they're saying like there's nothing. Like I know I kind of broke the rule, I'm not gonna lie. I carried my water bottle on me in my scrubs pocket on my
Yeah.
leg
Okay.
because I was like, I'm gonna die. Like literally, I was like, I'm
Going.
going I because I don't do well with heat. You know that too.
No,
You don't
not either
either.
do I. No, no.
Because both
That's
of
why
us
this
don't.
issue. That's why this issue I find it really like. I was reading through this. I was like, what can we do? Because
Simple.
have
Allow them to have water.
water on the floor,
And
all water.
and I mean, you see this all the time. Like
The
nurses
best.
post about it all the time. They can't even have their drinks at the nursing station. Like, why?
Why not?
Like they're closed containers. Like, why? Like it's so stupid. And they're like
Well,
health and safety. Health and
well,
safety is your staff not passing out on the floor.
well. Health and safety. I mean, when you're looking at a healthy place, is it health and safety are not necessarily congruent. You can have a very healthy place, but there might be a risk. Now, that's the problem is that are we so risk averse that you can't have a bottle of water out? Why? Like this is getting
I remember I got written up for it like 3 times.
wow, that's strict. Okay, so
I got written up for it, and then the DOC pulled me in, and she was a bit of a something. Anyways, and I remember sitting there, and she goes, "I'm going to write you up again for having water on the floor." I said, "Go for it."
go ahead. It's
And
a human right,
she goes, "But you know the rules." I said, "As I'm sitting in her air conditioned office,
of course.
right?" I said, "Well, you're nice and cool in here." I said, "I'm going to go back out there, and we're looking at temperatures of like 45, 50, and I have to do all that work out there." So, and the worst was the tub room. Like when
Oh,
I had to give baths or showers was the bloody tub room. And not just for me,
no, no,
for the
this
residents.
yeah.
Like it was hotter than blazes up in that room. Like you come out looking like you just walked through, like I had a shower. I come out looking like I
Well,
had
yeah,
a
you would,
shower.
yeah. Well, this is
Yeah.
why I mean there has to be some sort of compromise. It can't be just because otherwise you're oppressing that PSW population on it. You can't have water. You're not allowed to have fans. You're not allowed to have any sort of relief from discomfort at all
Oh,
because
you
of
have
the
to work through
risk.
the worst, the
You
worst.
have to
It's
work through the
gonna
worst, the
make you a
worst.
good PSW.
Just
Ah.
don't open my office door because I got the AC on. I don't want to lose it. So thanks.
Yeah, that's what pissed me off the most was that all
Yeah.
these executives were sitting in their offices. Even the front foyer of this damn place was freezing.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, even you and me are sitting in air conditioning right now. I feel kind of it's fine, but I mean, at the end of the day, PSWs are not in air conditioning. So I mean, I can't even compare. I don't know. There has to be some sort of compromise, and water is the minimum for sure.
So we want to hear from you, PSWs. Put in the comments below, or you guys can DM us or send a message to us here on Facebook or through our website. I want to hear what's going on in your long-term care home or retirement home, and how they are dealing with this sticky, gross heat that we are having
Yeah.
this summer. And if you're allowed to have water on the floor, or if you're not, I'm really curious to hear what's going on out there in Ontario. But we have been just yakking for 30 minutes, Ian, about
Oh
everything and
wow.
then some. Yeah, we've really just given it all today on a
Sorry.
Friday. It's all right. Anyways, so I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Remember, if you're not a member of the association yet, you need to get on it. If you're not a member, you're not protected. So make sure you head over to our main profile here on Facebook. I hope you're already here, and click the link, and it will take you to our link tree. And the first thing you're going to see is become a member. Make sure to click there. And we also have a live chat on our website if you guys need to talk to us. Our private practice PSW directory is getting hot hits. So a lot of PSWs are getting a lot of work off there. Lots is happening in the PSW world. Make sure to check out our merch below as well, because we have some great merch available for PSWs and our merch store. And yeah, I hope you guys all have a wonderful weekend. Oh,
Likewise.
and if it's not raining, we will be at Cops and Marauders on Sunday at Bayfront Park in Hamilton. We are the med tent, first aid tent. Come on out, say hi. We're gonna have some free swag there for you guys.
What's caught? They're raising money for Special Olympics.
Special Olympics Ontario, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I try to remember.
Yes, and it's hosted by the Hamilton Police Services. So
Right, that's right.
yes, yeah. So a shout out to
I-
Alan and his team for the Hamilton Police Services and Special Olympics Canada. We look forward to being there with you guys again for our third year this Sunday. So if you guys are in the Hamilton area, you guys want to come out, please do. It's a wonderful show for kids, for anybody really. They have, I think last year they had over 400 or no more than that, 700 old cars come through.
Wow.
Yeah, like really some classics, some newer ones, like
Cool.
really nice stuff, and great band and some awesome food trucks. So I hope everyone, whoever's close, decides to come out and say hi to us. It'd be really great. Bayfront Park, Hamilton, Sunday. All right. Anyways, guys, enjoy your weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll be back again next
we didn't
week.
shout out to Crescent Care and Arthur because we had a
Yeah,
great.
I did that already.
Oh, you did? No, did we? Oh my goodness.
Yeah, we did. Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It's
Another
right.
one then. They deserve it. All right.
Yeah, they do.
Thanks
Absolutely. But thanks so much, guys, for joining us again for another PSW podcast. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. And with that, we're going to say, Ops out.